Ever wonder why Utah has a team name from a music genre, jazz? Or how a dinosaur name became the face of Canadian basketball? From fan contests to historical throwbacks, every NBA team name has a story, and some are downright wild. Some names honor a region's roots, others borrow from past franchises, and a few, well, they just stuck, no matter how odd they sound today. Whether it's the Bulls, Lakers, Celtics, Raptors, or Warriors, there's a mystery behind their names. Some are smart, some are strange, sure, but none of them are without a tale. So how did all 30 NBA teams get their names? Let's break it down. Boston Celtics. Boston's franchise became the Celtics in 1946, picked by owner Walter Brown. He bypassed whimsical options like the Unicorns, spawned choosing Celtics to honor New York's original Celtics and Boston's Irish roots. It was a nod to heritage and basketball history that aged into one of the sport's most iconic names. Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers started in Minneapolis, the land of 10,000 lakes, where the name made perfect sense. After relocating to Los Angeles in 1960, the name no longer fit the sunny coast. But tradition mattered more than geography, and today, Lakers remains one of the NBA's most iconic brand names. Chicago Bulls. In 1966, Chicago's meatpacking roots inspired names like Matadors and Toreadors, until owner Richard Klein's son joked, "Dad, that's a lot of bull." Klein ran with it, choosing Bulls as the name. The branding sure fits the city and later became iconic thanks to Jordan's legendary lineage. The Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors were originally based in Philadelphia, keeping the Warriors name when they moved to San Francisco in 1962. In 1971, they were branded as Golden State to represent all of California, a statewide name, decades before Splash Bros made it global. New York Knicks. The Knicks, short for Knickerbockers, were named by founder Ned Irish in 1946 after Old Dutch settlers. It's old-fashioned, quirky, and quintessentially New York. The name hasn't changed since day one, and despite the chaos, the Knicks remain one of the league's most recognizable brands. San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs began as the Dallas Chaparrals, then relocated to San Antonio in 1973. A naming contest produced Spurs, fitting the Western cowboy theme of Texas. Now, it's the lineage that followed, under Duncan, Popovich, and the 5 banners of silver and black. Miami Heat. Miami's Heat came from a 1988 contest, beating out names like Beaches and Suntan. The winning name was fiery, intense, and fit the city's tropical heat and basketball passion. The name aged well, especially with Dwyane Wade and Pat Riley building a brand around it. Houston Rockets. The Rockets were first born in San Diego in 1967, chosen through a fan contest inspired by the city's aerospace industry. When the franchise moved to Houston, home of NASA's Johnson Space Center, the name made even more sense. Denver Nuggets. Denver's ABA team was originally the Rockets, but upon joining the NBA, where Houston already claimed that name, they switched to Nuggets. The new name nodded to Colorado's 1800s gold rush when prospectors hunted precious metal. It's a historic callback that's lasted through Denver's rise to contention. Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers name arrived when the Syracuse Nationals moved to Philadelphia in 1963. It's a nod to 1776, the Declaration of Independence, and Philly's place in U.S. history. You don't get more historically rooted than that. America's team before the nickname even existed. Detroit Pistons. Detroit's basketball team began in Fort Wayne as the Zollner Pistons, named after their owner's auto parts business. When the franchise moved to the Motor City in 1957, the Pistons name made perfect sense and matched Detroit's identity as the car capital of the world. The Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks began as the Tri-Cities Blackhawks in 1946, named after Chief Black Hawk. They moved to Milwaukee, then St. Louis, and finally Atlanta in 1968. The name was shortened to Hawks early on and stuck through every city change, reflecting consistency and tradition. Orlando Magic. The Magic name came from a 1986 contest before Orlando even officially had a team. Finalists included Juice, Tropics, and Heat, but Magic won out. It tied into Orlando's entertainment and theme park identity perfectly, casting a spell that still sticks decades later. Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets started as the New Jersey Americans in 1967. After relocating to New York, they adopted the name Nets, simple, direct, and basketball-themed. Even after moving back to New Jersey and later to Brooklyn, the team stuck with the name through every rebranding phase. Charlotte Bobcats. Charlotte's NBA team was named Bobcats via a 2004 fan contest, beating out Flight and Dragons. Rumors swirled it was linked to owner Bob Johnson. Despite a lukewarm reception, the name held until the Hornets brand returned to Charlotte and reclaimed its historic identity. Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland's name came from a 1970 contest. Cavaliers won out over options like Jays and Presidents. The name was pitched as representing fearless men committed to never surrendering. It gave Cleveland's expansion team an identity of valor, even if the early years did not match the ambition. Dallas Mavericks. Dallas held a Name the Team contest in 1980. Finalists included Mavericks, Wranglers, and Express. Team owner Donald Carter chose the Mavericks, representing independence and a rebellious spirit. The name gained real identity as stars like Dirk Nowitzki and Luka Doncic embodied the bold, trailblazing energy it was meant to convey. Indiana Pacers. The Pacers joined the ABA in 1967, named after Indiana's harness racing history and the Indianapolis 500's pace cars. It's a name built around speed, movement, and state tradition, one that stuck around as the franchise transitioned into the NBA and built its blue-collar basketball identity. Los Angeles Clippers. When the Buffalo Braves moved to San Diego in 1978, they held a naming contest and became the Clippers, named after a fast-moving sailing ships. The name stayed intact even after the team moved to Los Angeles in 1984, holding on through decades of identity shifts. Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies were originally the Vancouver Grizzlies in 1995. Named through a fan contest to reflect the region's rugged wilderness, the franchise considered a new name after relocating to Memphis in 2001. But fans embraced the Grizzly, and the name carried on in the new city. Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks name came from a 1968 contest that drew over 10,000 entries. Chosen for its connection to the region's outdoors and wildlife, Bucks felt rugged and appropriate. It's a name that's now tied to MVPs, titles, and Giannis-level domination. Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves name emerged from a 1986 fan contest. Timberwolves and Polars were the finalists, with local city councils making the final call. The name reflects the wild forests of Minnesota, and it sounds tough, even if the on-court results took decades to catch up. New Orleans Hornets/Pelicans. Charlotte picked Hornets in a 1987 fan vote. The team moved to New Orleans in 2002, but by 2013, new owner Tom Benson chose Pelicans, a gritty, local symbol of Louisiana pride and resilience. Oklahoma City Thunder. When the Seattle Supersonics relocated to Oklahoma City in 2008, fans selected Thunder from a shortlist. Oklahoma's stormy weather made it a natural fit. The name has grown into a symbol of energy, youth, and loud basketball, especially in those early Kevin Russ years. Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns emerged from a 1968 Name the Team contest. Finalists included Thunderbirds and Rattlers, but Suns felt most natural for the desert city. The name was chosen by a 28-year-old GM, Jerry Colangelo. It's been a hot pick ever since. Portland Trail Blazers. Portland's Trailblazers name came from a 1970 contest. Pioneers was the top choice but was taken by a local college, so Trailblazers, a close second, became the pick. It represents exploration and carving your own path, something the franchise has certainly done through highs and lows. Sacramento Kings. The Kings began as the Rochester Royals moved to Cincinnati and then to Kansas City, where they became the Kings to avoid clashing with MLB's Royals. When they moved to Sacramento in 1985, the name and royalty theme carried on, even through rebuilding decades and playoff droughts. Seattle Supersonics. The Supersonics were named in 1967 after Boeing's planned supersonic transport aircraft. The plane never launched, but the name took flight. The Sonics built a legacy of loud crowds, downtown pride, and one of the best uniforms in league history. Fans still want them back. Toronto Raptors. The Raptors name came from a 1993 national poll fueled by the success of Jurassic Park. Fans picked Raptors over Dragons, Bobcats, and Beavers. It was fierce, flashy, and instantly marketable. It's now tied to Canada's only NBA title and one unforgettable playoff run. Utah Jazz. The Jazz started in New Orleans in 1974, where the name actually fit. After moving to Salt Lake City in 1979, the name stayed. Jazz in Utah makes no sense, but tradition stuck. Washington Wizards. The Bullets name stuck around from 1946 to 1996, but owner Abe Pollan thought it sounded too violent. So, Washington became the Wizards. Safer, cleaner, and with a much sharper logo. So from lakes in LA to gold nuggets in Denver, each name carries a legacy, a story, or a reflection of the city it represents, even if that reflection is a little blurry sometimes. Whether picked by owners, fans, or by total accident, these names have become iconic parts of the league's identity. So the next time you hear Trailblazers or Wizards, remember, there's probably a bizarre, fascinating reason behind it. Which team name surprised you the most? And which one do you think still doesn't fit? Comments below, like this video to show your support, and subscribe to By the Hoop for more hoop content. See you in the next video.